Well, I just went to Starbucks. It's Sunday morning, and that's good. It's Sunday morning, and busy day yesterday. Went to the barn. I didn't get up that early. I went to the barn around 9:30. Went with all the babies. There was 10 babies to go with yesterday. Now that number is a little higher than 10. We have one in Ohio, and then we'll talk about two that were acquired yesterday by the stable.ca. So we'll start with the 10 first. Very impressed. Not one horse laid down, not one horse kicked, not one horse acted up. Amy and Donnie have been doing a great job working with these horses, and usually we buy them, bring them home, put them in the harness and right in the jog cart, and it can be a rodeo sometimes. But yesterday the horses were very subdued and very behaved, very professional. A couple were very impressive. Let's just get right to it. I got a list here. So first horse I went with yesterday. Where was the first horse? Oftem I went with. I wanted to go to Oftem because I like everything about her. She's a weird build. Very tall, very long filly, very lanky. So what I liked most about her, though, she doesn't have that big well, she couldn't have a popped up ass because she'd be a giraffe if she did. But you know, she's done so much growing in her life already. She's so tall and so lanky. You know, you'd want to believe as you put some weight onto her and some muscle onto her, there would be, let's say, a little less than average maturity physically. So, you know, you wouldn't have those frequent growth spurts or hopeful injuries, hopefully miss injuries that she might have. That was my take on her anyway, is that every horse has still got to grow, but she's so tall and lanky already. And proportionally speaking, she's even from the withers to her rump, whereas a lot of these babies, you know, they're starting to get bigger. You see them popped up on the bum where they're gonna grow up and do a lot of growing. So I just thought it was a very odd mix, a very unique build of a horse, and I wanted to see how she'd do first day in the harness. She was great, trotted along nice. As I said to John, you know, she trotted a certain speed and she'd speed up, and a lot of them would make breaks. Right? Because they can't do anything right yet. They're just learning. It's their first day. But what I saw was a horse with a nice gait. The way she trots, she's square up front. She doesn't look like she's going to interfere very much anywhere. She just a very nice looking horse, and I was really pleased and impressed by her. Now, there were some horses that looked just stronger and more fluid than her yesterday, and three of those horses were Purple Aura. I think it was so funny. She kicked once in the barn, a horse touched her and she kicked. She's got that laser focus where, don't bother me, stay away from me. Then we went on the track, and you can see her ears come up, and she just cooled down. Right, if our horse had never done it before, she just cooled right down and relaxed and trotted along. And as I said, a lot of these horses, they get excited and they go to over-trot themselves, or even if they're pacing, overpace themselves, and they'll run. Obviously, that's what they'll do. This filly? Nope. She would get up to a certain speed where you could see she was kind of redlining, and she would just slow down. It was the most unique thing I'd seen. And not very often you see horses do that, because what happens is they get faster, they'll touch, right? Touch a hind shin or a quarter or something, and then you'll just hear them click, click, and they'll roll off. This filly, she'd get up faster, and she it was almost like she knew, going a little fast, and just kind of slowed right down. And she trotted for 3 full laps, faster than any other horse did, and more fluid than any of the other horses did. She just looked incredible yesterday. And again, we could go over the breeding. There's no point. You guys know the breeding by now. And if you don't, go in and look. Go onto the site and look. These are, I don't want to harp about, it's a half-sister to this and a second. I'll do that about the two I bought yesterday, because you don't know who they are. But not the ones we already have. You guys should know by now what they are and what they're all about. Purple Aura was fantastic. Another horse I thought would act up bad yesterday was Sweet on Pete. Nope, she went right on the track, 1, 2, 3, 4, and she has got a big, powerful gait also. Her, Purple Aura, and the horse I'm going to talk about next trotted the strongest of the trotters. Sweet on Pete looked very fluid and very good. And the third one who went out, now he did make some breaks, but he's got such a slick gait. Was that Matt's MVP? My goodness, he looked fantastic yesterday. Oftem looked good yesterday. And Isa 10 also did her work very well. Now, two horses that really surprised me yesterday how good they looked were the colts. The Jimmy horse Slim Jimmy and Voyage of Ice and Fire. Both of them trotted great. And you guys don't have to take my word for it. Go back and look. I did all videos for all the horses yesterday, so you can see them trot by. You can see them get hooked into the jog cart. They just looked very, very good. Now, Procrastinator, he's a pacer, right? You can't expect a lot from him on day one. He just went out and trotted and cantered, and he did his work very, very well. And then also the horse that we bought that we didn't talk that much about, the Uncle Peter colt, we changed his name because a number of hockey players got into him in a charity for McMaster Children's Hospital. And his name now is Do You Believe? L-E-A-F. You'd have to believe. I think it's been 1967 since the Leafs won. So yes, you would have to believe. Do You Believe? Went out and did his work well. I mean, he's a small little Uncle Peter colt. You know, he was an affordable purchase at $7,000. So a nice little horse just to have for the charity and for the guys to be involved in. It's a great opportunity and a real great thing that Matt Milne's done. So Do You Believe trotted well yesterday. Also, now, Mischievous Rose. I never even noticed. Okay, so you guys may have never heard the name very much, Mischievous Rose. So Haley Moore has been a client of ours now for 3 years. A very, very nice lady. Her and her husband do a great job raising babies. And she called me and said, would you take this muscle mass filly for me? I don't offer any shares of her just yet, but could you train her down and tell me what you think? I said, yep. Hi. She looked incredible yesterday. So I look her up. And I've looked at her, but I didn't look close, right? Her second dam is a sister to Globetrotting's mother. I saw it on the pedigree yesterday. That was incredible. So this is a muscle, and I didn't know this. This is a muscle mass filly.
Who's a muscle mass?
Muscle mass is sire here in Ontario. So this is a muscle mass filly, and she looked great yesterday. And everybody keeps telling me how good she looks, how good she looks. John has gone to the barn 2 or 3 times, told me every time how good Mischievous Rose looked. And then yesterday, I went with her. Man, oh man, she looks great. So you can go back and watch the video of her. She looks very, very good trotting yesterday. So that was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. That was the 10 babies. Purple Laura, Sweet on Pete, my MVP, looked very, very good. Oftum, Eyes of 10. The 2 colts, Slim Jimmy and Voyage of Ice and Fire, looked good. Procrastinator just went out and did his work very well. Do You Believe did his work also. Hey, you got to sit down. Hey, look, we're going. You gonna say hi? Hi. And then Mischievous Rose was a real surprise of the day. I was obviously very excited to go with these horses and happy to see them doing their work well. But then to see Mischievous Rose, she was bigger than I thought she was. She trots very, very cleanly. Just a very nice looking filly. So a great day of going with the babies. As I said, I went on the on-gate sale, and I had every intention of buying Jazzy Judy's full sister. So the key, hang on, you take this. You take that for me. The key to Delaware, the big selling point of, guys, seatbelts on right now, please. The big selling point for Delaware State was, guys, Ollie, I can hear you crinkling everything on the floor back there, buddy, please. The big selling point for Delaware, the state, is there's not a lot of horses eligible to the divisions. If you guys took the time to watch Jazzy Judy's race the other night, it was a yard sale. There was horses on the run everywhere. 2 of them stayed trotting, and it wasn't shocking that our horse was very attentive and did her work. She didn't look great. I think they got some work to do in Delaware with her, but Jim King was happy with her, and she won her division. Wasn't pretty. It wasn't a fast division. They went 2-6, but there's not a lot of horses eligible in Delaware. So that's the draw of Delaware, which is awesome. But I think the thing that put me off about the whole guys, the whole on-gate yearling experience, if there was one, was that they went up with increments of 100. So you would bid, then the guy would let it get down to a minute left. Hey, pretty. And then that person would bid, and then it would go back to 2 minutes. Then you would bid. This went on back and forth for like an hour, and I just said, enough is enough. And I let him go. I let her go at 10,000, which is less than half of what I paid for Jazzy Judy. And I like Jazzy Judy. I think she's a quality, decent filly. You know, this this is a huge learning experience. And make no mistake, I was looking back on my notes. May 18th, Jazzy Judy was in the stall with a cracked knee and a chip removed, and made it back to not only make the races, not only qualify well and look good, but win her first start, which was a stake race in Delaware. So I got a lot of respect for Jazzy Judy, but at the same time, there were other horses I was looking at. I got looking through the sale a little more extensively, and I see a horse that I thought looked really nice. His name was Duke Dio. Now, obviously, we got Spirit of Dio from the Dio Valente Farms. This is a huge consignment. This is a Trixton colt. Now, the thing about this colt is he is out of a sister to the mother of Donato Hanover. So the second dam of Duke Dio is the dam of Donato Hanover, and Here Comes Herbie. First dam's 100% producer. They all made it to the races. There's a horse in there that's going to mark a 51-4, and another one that's going to mark a 54-4 on a half-mile track with 24 lifetime wins. So what, I never used to do this, but a couple of our clients always do it, and I think it's so interesting. You go back and look at the broodmare, look at all the horses that sold, and then look what they sold for, which you may say that means nothing, but it does, because it gives you a look at the quality of the family. If you see one horse sold for a lot and the rest of them sold for nothing, well, that's one thing. All the horses sold for pretty decent money. In fact, the average price, and I just did it in my head, the average price for every yearling Duke Dio's mother had, the 7 before him, the average price was just a tick under $50,000 US. And I think that's important. So I had bid on Duke Dio, and I had to bid at $9,200. It stayed there forever. He went up to $9,000, so it appeared to me, hey Ava, can you play with your sister, please, honey? It appeared to me that maybe the farm, because they started at like 4, maybe the farm was not happy with selling the horse for next to nothing, and I don't blame them. You go back and look at the video. We'll post the video, but you look at the video of Duke Dio and how fluid and strong the colt looks in the field. Now, there was a little vet report that went with the horse. It was an OCD removed from an ankle, both hind ankles, which is fine. We removed both the OCDs from Braemar last year. And there was a sequestrum removed, so a piece of bone removed from the front of the cannon bone. You can see in his walking video, if you take the time to look at the whole video, the second half of the video is a walking video, just for you to look at the entire horse, the conformation out on the pavement, the conformation, and in fact you can see a bump on the left hind leg. But then I go back and look at the horse in the field, his field video. He is strong trotting, not even a step put in. The horse just looked like a tank. Just a very, very nice horse. So you got a very well-bred horse, very nice horse. You had this old, these OCDs that are already removed, they're gone. Not a problem at all now. And this bump on his left hind leg. This would be a horse I would look at if he was in Harrisburg, Lexington, or on gate. So I bid $9,200 in the morning. So I was bidding on Jazzy Judy's sister, and then aborted. I said, no, enough. This $10,000. If you're gonna make me bid on one horse, Duke Dio or Arbitration was the name of the filly, which one would you bid? Yes, you had the angle of Delaware, but you still have to race against some horses. And then I don't know how good the filly would be after. She's a political briefing. But I'm looking at a Trixton colt, who's a good-looking colt. And people have said, well, Trixton, you know, they got to race against Muscle Hill and Walner. No, they don't. Not for $9,600 as a yearling, they don't. I can race that horse anywhere I want and do okay with them. You know, they have the races at Freehold. They do have the stake races at the Meadowlands. Then you have the stake races here in Ontario all summer for American-bred horses also. There's 2 or 3 of them. And then you have overnights. So there's lots of money to race for, regardless of this. I have to. Now, if you buy a horse for $60,000, $50,000, it would be nice to race in the sire stakes. But when I'm buying a colt this well-bred that looks this good in the field for $9,600, there's no expectations. I can do whatever I want with Duke Dio. And that's exactly what I planned to do. It was the easiest purchase I made all year. Was Duke Dio, a Trixton colt, out of a sister to Donato Hanover, and Here Comes Herbie, out of a consignment on gate, Dio Valente Farms. Dio Valente does a fantastic job raising their horses. I see a lot of their horses. They just look great all the time. And that's one thing I can honestly say about Spirit of Dio, is from day one, she always looked like a good looker. If you go back, and you can, If you go back and look at her yearling video that I did at Lexington 2 years ago, I think she wants another bite of that. Yeah, that's fine. If you go back and look at that video, she looked fantastic from day one. They just do a good job raising their babies, which is important. So we got a very quality colt for $9,600. Now people might say, "Oh, you don't know he's quality." No, I don't know he's quality. You're right. Might be terrible. I don't know, but certainly made sense to me when you look at a brother to a horse Mario Bergeron drove, and I asked Mario, said he like this horse? He says, "Yeah, I liked him very much. It was a very nice horse." Took a mark at 55-3. It looks like I think it's a filly. I think they might have bred her. I should have looked closer, but more than enough information for me to easily pay $9,600 for Duke Dio was very, very simple. So I passed on Jazzy Judy's sister because I bought Duke Dio. She went for $10,100. And then right with 5 minutes left in the sale of another horse, I get a call from I'll say who it was. It was a friend of mine, Blair Burgess, a guy that had a horse for us last year. He said, "Anthony, I'm trying to get money together to go to Lexington, Timonium. I want to get some horses," which is good. I hope he does. He says, there is a filly selling in 5 minutes. He said, and I struggled with this all morning to buy this filly or not, or try and buy this filly. And he said, the timing was bad. He said, "I know that you're looking for good horses. You buy good horses from every jurisdiction. There is a Trixton filly selling in 5 minutes. I've looked at her video 500 times. If I've looked at it once, I've looked at her walking video, and I know her very well because I trained her full sister. And her full sister got hurt as a 2-year-old. Still took a mark of 57-2. I'm telling you, this was a quality, very, very good filly that I had. Now, I don't want to tell you all he said because, when horsemen are talking to horsemen, obviously it's different. Blair made it abundantly clear that the full sister, Trixton, full sister to the filly about to sell in a minute, was an incredibly good filly, and he was heartbroken that she didn't make more money at 2 and do more. He said this was a very, very nice filly. This is her full sister, and she's a twin of the one I had. I said, "Really?" He said, "Yep." He said, "I was going to buy her, but I decided I can't. And, for whatever reason, I thought to call you." He said, "It's short notice." He said, "But trust me, I've done my homework. This filly looks good. I'm very, very happy with her. I just can't buy her." And he said, "I would rather you have her than somebody else." Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I go and look at her video. Indeed, she does look fantastic. I look at her pedigree quickly. This isn't a 5-minute window. I look at her pedigree quickly again. She, in fact, is a full sister to Miss U. Kelly, the horse that Blair was talking about. Another 100% producer. I look quick again on Track It. Average yearling price for this family is just a tick over $40,000, I believe, unless I'm wrong. Around $40,000 per yearling out of this filly, out of this mare, this filly's family. So I think about it. She's at $8,200. Again, it's pretty simple. Just look back to quality, right? You have a quality family coming from a quality farm. I have a trainer that I hold in very high regard. In fact, Canadian Hall of Fame trainer, Blair Burgess, calling me to tell me for no particular reason. He didn't want in, he didn't want money for finding the filly. He didn't want anything. He just wanted her to go to what he said was a good home, which was pretty flattering. When a guy of his caliber is saying, "I want her to go to a good home, I want you to buy her," it's pretty flattering. So I look quick. I said, "You know what? I can't not buy a quality horse for that kind of money. When we're trying to be very frugal this fall and be very careful, how can I not buy a horse that I think is of a quality family, and again, a quality farm, and have the endorsement of a guy who trained the full sister saying, you should buy this filly?" So I bid $8,400. Boom. We get her. So we get 2 horses yesterday. Every horse that I can see anyway in the immediate family made the races. All of them. All 7 on the top horse, Duke Dio. I think 4 or 5 in the Blue Bayou Dio family. One has 2 world champions and 2 sires in the second dam. The other one has lots of quality through the family. And again, the full sister was trained by a guy who just called me. You bored? The full sister was trained by a guy who just called me to tell me to buy her. So it was a pretty easy, you're being silly. It was a pretty easy purchase. Both Duke Dio and Blue Bayou Dio, not a really difficult thing to do was to purchase them. The easiest thing to do yesterday was to purchase both of them. So if you're one of our New York and New Jersey clients out there that have been bugging me to buy a New Jersey bred or a New York bred, you're welcome. You just bought 2 very, very quality New Jersey bred, one a colt, one a filly by Trixton. Very strong families. Now, we sold Emerald Miss yesterday. I felt like the guy who stayed at the craps table a little too long with her. We could have sold her for more money a month and a half ago. We ended up selling her for $4,900 yesterday. But Jason's staff is a little thinned out because we're starting to turn out the babies, right? My Jazz went out right after the race the other day. And I said to Jason, you know what? I'm going to have those 2 horses shipped to Northfield. I'll show up Northfield Tuesday. We'll break them at Northfield Park. And then when we come home, we'll take them home with us. So that's the plan with both Duke Dio and Blue Bayou Dio. We'll do videos of them. There's actually a better vantage point at Northfield anyway. They got that stand right where in the first turn. So we'll get a good look at them being broke in at Northfield Park. So that's the plan with both Duke and Blue Bayou Dio. They are going to be broke at Northfield Park and coming home soon. Now, as I said, our New Jersey and New York clients, it would be great if I would like to keep a little piece of both of them. I mean, they're so affordably priced. It's right in my wheelhouse too, you know. So I would be very interested in retaining a little piece of both of them, but I would like to have them sold out quite quickly. So look them up if you want. We will send you the pedigrees, the yearling videos, the walking videos. Both of them were very affordably priced. Duke Dio, $9,600. Blue Bayou Dio, $8,400. And that was how Saturday looked with the babies. That's your baby update, your baby report for Saturday, September 26th, was it? September 26th. 10 babies jog good. We're going to the barn right now. I'm going to go with a couple. I'm going to go with Sweet on Pete again. I'm going to call her bluff and see if she was just being polite on day 1 and she really has some pent-up rage on day 2. So we're going to go with a couple of them right now. But the way they looked yesterday, they were very, very good. Very happy with all of them. So enjoy the videos we made. They'll be going out to you. They're on YouTube right now, but you guys have already seen them. And obviously we'll be making videos this week of the Dio horses as they come to Northfield to be broke before we head home to Canada. Now, this week you'll be getting a lot of information. It is the lead up to, I guess, the biggest sale in harness racing. I shouldn't say that. There's always this competition between Harrisburg and Lexington. It's almost like there's groups of people that I'm a Lexington guy or I'm a Harrisburg guy, and Lexington is coming up. More horses in Lexington this year. Now, for those of you who said maybe I didn't get what I wanted for Ohio, there's like 90 Ohio breds for sale in the Lexington sales catalog. A lot of them, Ava, a lot of them look very, very interesting to me, and we'll be going over a lot of horses. So a lot of people have reached out and said, Anthony, this is what I'd like to do at Lexington. I appreciate that. You guys don't know how much I appreciate that. It makes my job so much easier heading into the sales this fall. So, had a great sale in Ohio. A lot of the horses have cleaned up. I think there's only shares left in 3 of them, maybe. And Purple Dio is heading towards being sold out quite quickly. She's at 20-some% as of Saturday. And then we get the two Dio horses that are purchased. So that is it. That's your yearling video for Sunday now. Started Saturday, ended Sunday. And I will make sure we get as many videos done today as we can and get them out to you guys on Monday. Talk to you soon. Hope you had a great weekend. It's been a great weekend for me. Is Addie eating all my breakfast? Oh, just most of it. I will talk to you guys very soon. Take care.